That's a long story about me, but I like him there, but I'm not
Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Swannanoa Valley. My name is Susan Hurley, and I'm a member of the Board of Trustees. As a reminder, please silence your cell phones. With open hearts and open minds, we share a commitment to embrace an environment of inclusivity, accepting diversity and differences in our beliefs that help us to grow both individually and collectively as an engaged community. At the end of the day, it is our deeds that best define who we are, and with equal resound, our connection to the world around us. As we often say, we don't have to think alike to love alike. If you are new to Unitarian Universalism, we invite you to take a look at our mission statement printed on the front of the order of service, and on the back, our 8 principles that we practice and promote within this setting and throughout the community at large. It is our tradition to welcome first or second time visitors or those who haven't been here for a while. If you are comfortable, we invite you to stand and introduce yourself and tell us where you're from. So I think I'm going to start on this side and just have you stand and introduce yourself.
I'm Mary Bacasey, and I am a new seasonal resident to Black Mountain, and I live by Diane.
Welcome.
Welcome.
I'm surrounded by...
Oh! I haven't been here in quite a while, and I'm here with my wife, Betty. Anyway, it's good to be back.
And this side?
Hi, I'm Beverly Bren. I moved here in December to Black Mountain. Woo!
Welcome.
I'm very excited to be here with all your sweet people. And before this, I was in Germany for many years, and then returned home to take care of my mother. So,
Welcome.
I'm Beverly Valentine, but I'm really glad to be here today.
Welcome home.
I'm April Johnson. I moved here just about a year ago, and I've been looking for you. So I'm
Welcome.
I'm Eileen Loughlin, and I'm here for the first time today, but I live in Arden, and I've been going to the Unitarian Universalist congregation in Asheville, but thanks to Andy, he told me to try and visit you all, so
Welcome.
here I am.
My name's TK. I also go to UU Asheville. I just turned in my ordination materials, so I'm have the MFC appointment in the spring in April. So I'm on a little victory tour of UU.
Welcome.
I'm Mariah. I also have something to send to you, Church in Asheville, and I wanted to check out this one. I grew up in Minnesota, and my mom's best friend's husband was a UU minister, so.
Great, welcome.
We're back to the UU.
Glad to have you.
Welcome.
Hello, my name is Bruce Stanley, and I've lived in Black Mountain for about 2 years. And before that, I was living in Arizona for about 20 years. But this is my first time here, and thanks for
Welcome. Glad to have you, Bruce.
My name's Cat Conway.
Welcome.
Anyone else?
Hi, my name's Jeannie. I moved here from Asheville in August or something. I'm an old UU from Gainesville, Florida, and Duluth, Minnesota, and I decided to get up early. Say you nice things, so.
Welcome. Thank you all for coming today. There are many choices out there, and we're delighted you decided to share your time with us this morning. If you have an interest in receiving our newsletter, learning more about who we are, or perhaps getting involved in our community, please fill out the white cards located on the back of the pews. The cards can be placed in the collection plate or on the foyer table. We also have those involved on the membership committee identified with orange name tags. And if any of you are here, please stand. I don't see anybody. Oh,
I don't have my orange tag.
yeah, so see Carol if you have any questions. We end this part of the service with respect that the land we are on today was and remains the ancestral home of the Cherokees and of other indigenous people who through stewardship, understanding, and conservation survived and still strive in this land. We acknowledge their enduring connection to their homeland. Let us begin our service.
Good morning. We begin our service. Oh, I'm not on.
I think you are.
Okay, can you hear me now? Yeah. Yes. Okay. The light has gone out. Still hear me? Yes. Okay, okay. I'm not quite as up to speed as Michael is with this, so thank you. So we begin with lighting our chalice lamp. And I want to say just a word about the chalice lamp. It is a beautiful piece of art that was made by the Malia Women's Peace Art Center in Palestine. And what's written across it are words in several languages. Peace is written in those languages, and so we open with that today. And what I want to do today, we are celebrating the Celtic Holy Day of Imbolc. So this is more of a ceremony than it is a regular service today. So I want to start with calling the directions. And so there may be several things happening that are not terribly familiar, and some of you will know exactly what I'm talking about. But in the Celtic tradition, as well as the Native American tradition, we call the directions from a medicine wheel. Okay. Yeah, it's the language. Okay, so you got me. So we call the directions from the medicine wheel, and one of the traditions, I'm not going to light the sage, but one of the traditions is to light sage or use the herbs themselves to cleanse and purify and open the area where you are. I consider this a sacred space to begin with. And so we just add our energy with that, with the sage. And so I invite you, let's see, this is east. We'll do the 4 directions, east and then south, then west and then north. But I start in the center, calling in the divine light. And I call these directions in honor of my Cherokee heritage, my long ago Celtic heritage, and my spiritual heritage through Egypt. And so the calling of the directions reflects all 3 of those backgrounds that I have. So you can stand or sit, whichever you prefer, and if you would like to turn with the directions, you can do that, or not. It's totally up to you. So I start with the center, and I say, thank you, divine light. Thank you for coming this day and guiding us through this journey and through this ceremony. Thank you. And I turn to the east. The east is the direction of the sun rising, of the sun showing the pathway, illuminating our direction, illuminating our path, guiding us along the way. And we call on the ancestors of the east, from the Celtic line, Lu and Anya, and from the Egyptian line, Ra and Mut, to show us the way, to guide us as we walk through this journey. And we say thank you. And we make a quarter turn to the right. To the south. And we say thank you, south winds. These are the winds of love and laughter and dance and rhythm and music. And so we call on the goddesses Hathor and Bast to rise up and show us the dance of life. And we call on Brigid, the Celtic goddess of creativity and dance. And we call on the Order More, who in the Celtic tradition was said to have brought the world into existence through the vibration of harmony and rhythm. And we say thank you, ancestors of the South. And we make a quarter turn to the right, turning to the west. The west is the direction of the setting sun, the direction of darkness. And the black bear comes to lead us into the darkness, to sit in the cave of introspection, to sit in the darkness and listen to the ancestors who've passed on to the other world, who have come to teach us the lessons of life. And the Mordigan of the Celtic line and Sekhmet of the Egyptian line stand at the mouth of our cave of introspection to protect us, to help us, to be our guides in the dark. And we say thank you. We make a quarter turn to the north. Still into the deep darkness, but in the north uprises Ma'at, the Egyptian goddess of balance, of truth, of awakening, and the Celtic goddess of Danu. And the two of them call us to stand in the north, the direction of wisdom consciousness, to rise up and be the people we came here on earth to be, to stand up as warriors of the heart. And in the north, the white buffalo woman resides. She came to earth at a time when people had forgotten how to pray, forgotten how to live in ceremony. And she's still here today teaching us, helping us understand what life living in ceremony is about. And so White Buffalo Woman comes from the north, and she circles the entire medicine wheel today, guiding us, protecting us, being with us, as we come back to the center. And we raise our hands to the heavens and say thank you to the moon and the sun and the stars, the planets, and reach down to Mother Earth. Touching the earth, saying thank you, Mother, for holding us, for surrounding us, for being with us. And I say, Aho. Aho. Blessed be. So we, let me put this in a safe space. Let's see, it's fine, don't let me do that. Yeah, okay.
I think maybe while they fix that, I'll go ahead and you can turn to page hymn number 395 in your hymnal, and we can stay in our seats. It's a round, so I'd like to do it a few times before we divide it into two parts. Okay? Sounding great? Okay. So this side can begin, all right? And after two sing and rejoices, we go to you, okay? So I'll help to lead you there, okay? On the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Sing and rejoice, sing and rejoice. Keep going. Sing and rejoice, sing and rejoice. Let all things rejoice now, sing and rejoice. Sing and rejoice now, sing and rejoice. Let all things rejoice now, sing and rejoice. Sing and rejoice now, sing and rejoice. Let all things rejoice now, sing and rejoice. Sing and rejoice now, sing and rejoice. Let all things living now sing and rejoice.
Okay, I think I'm on now and you're hearing me better, right? Okay, good. We get new batteries in. So we are, let me get my program and make sure I know where we are. So we are about to have an interesting event to come about. We're just like in the South that I call the direction of music and laughter and rhythm and dance. Brigid is a focus of what we're talking about today, and she is of the South, and we're going to have a Celtic dance now from the South. You want to talk more about it, Maggie?
Good morning. Good morning. The song we're going to dance to is Brigid, Red Gold Woman.
Here,
and it's a
microphone.
It's a prayer, an ancient Irish prayer.
It's on.
Is it on? Okay. It's an ancient Irish prayer that Anna Linda found and put it to music. And I thought it would be a great dance. So this is the world premiere of the Sacred Circle dance, Brigid, Red Gold Woman. And I'm joined by the lovely Carol Black and Susan Hurley for our Sacred Circle dance. And Maestro.
Thank you, it's so beautiful, so beautiful. We're going to do a responsive reading today. That's an extra sheet in your program. You also have a piece of cloth in your program that I'll tell you about in a few minutes. But for now, if you'll get that responsive reading paper out. This is a poem written by Carolyn Miller, and the poem is called Imbolc, a Dream of Awakening. I am the dream of awakening. I am the returning of light.
I am the tough green shoot pushing up through the hailstones.
I am the first kiss of sunlight on the unfurling petals of the snowdrop.
I am the wind which whispers the gentle pull home to the migratory bird.
I am the drop of ice melting on the mountainside with its great dream of the ocean.
I am the sap rising in the blossoming tree just before it reveals its sticky buds to the sky.
I am the riotous celebration humming away beneath the earth's mantle of frozen sleep.
I am the rousing of the bee from its winter slumber.
I am the kindling breath which transforms the flicker of inspiration in your creative core into a blazing torch.
I am hope, potential, rebirth, and promise.
I am the quickening. I got a little too quick. I am the quickening. Oh, fire. Sorry. Now I am the quickening.
You're the fire.
Oh, right. Sorry, I am the fire within which will not be contained any longer. It's the fire that couldn't be contained that I was having trouble with. I am the serpent uncoiling.
I am Imbolc. I am the dream of awakening.
Yes.
As you notice, we have a special musician here today, Sue Richards, playing the Celtic harp in honor of Brigid's Day. I think she's being a little bit modest when she gave me a 2-sentence bio, which I'll read first. Sue first studied classical harp as a teen in Ohio, but turned to traditional Celtic music in the 70s when the chieftains were popular. She moved to the mountains 10 years ago and teaches and performs in the area. Somehow I thought this was not enough. So I looked at YouTube and I had to stop counting at 60 videos. Things in CDs that I have at home in my collection, like the Ensemble Galilei, Maggie Sansone, and recently with Robin Bullock in their Celtic series at the White Horse. So we will hear Sue play some wonderful traditional Celtic harp pieces by Turlough O'Carolan, and at the end her own piece, Soupy's Waltz. Thank you so much.
this morning when Sue set up her harp and Linda and I were here, she just ran her fingers down the strings and both of us just went, ah. It's such a beautiful.
That's what I want.
Thank you. It's time for joys and concerns. If you have prayers or wishes or things that you would like to light a candle for someone or to put stones into the water, this is the time to come and do that. And for any who have joys and concerns and did not come forward today, we add a stone into the water for those silent prayers and wishes and joys. All right, you're going to introduce me before I...
Hello. I'm Maggie Moon, and it is my great privilege and joy to welcome my beloved friend Peggy Moore back to the pulpit for this special Imbolc service. I wanted to tell you that I found Peggy by divine, quote, accident shortly after I moved to Black Mountain. We quickly discovered that we have so much in common. We knew we would be lifelong friends and spiritual seekers. Our lives are entwined in many ways. I have taken nearly every class that Peggy has offered since we met, including about the sacred sites of Ireland and Egypt that she teaches at Ali and at UU Women's Spirit, non-stop teaching. And I've meditated nearly every week with her, with the group she leads. Peggy is very generous in sharing her deep exploration of our spiritual roots, and she has enriched my life beyond description. I'm continually amazed at Peggy's many gifts. She's also a talented artist, a lovely singer, now with our UU choir, thankfully, and a dedicated herbalist and healer, an enthusiastic dancer, a diligent scholar and writer, an outstanding teacher, including with her grandchildren, whom she tutors every week. Peggy is highly skilled in creating online interactive experiences complete with world-class graphics. But the overriding thing I learned about Peggy is that most of all, she is a fearless spiritual seeker. I want to call her a spiritual astronaut. One year, I decided to go to Egypt on a sacred circle dance pilgrimage, and I invited Peggy to come along. We celebrated turning 70 together, floating down the Nile in Egypt, dancing. It was a life-changing journey for both of us. For me, the thrill of a lifetime, belly dancing to a live band in Egyptian costume. For Peggy, it was finding her way forward to dive deeply into Egypt's mysteries. The rest, as they say, is herstory. Peggy now has a beautiful spiritual center in Luxor, Egypt, called Hathor House, where she leads sacred tours of Egypt's sacred ancient sites. Please look at her website when you get a chance, Mother Earth Sacred Tours. She offers new moon and full moon ceremonies, healing and herbal offerings, meditation and sacred tours, on and on and on. My joy to present Peggy Reader Moore.
That was a bit more than I would have guessed coming through. There are some, it brought tears to my eyes. In the portico, there's a table out there that has cards. If you're interested in looking at my website, and if you're interested in the full moon ceremony that comes this, it's a new moon ceremony this Friday, you can see the link is on that little card, so that you can find out about that if you'd like to. It's online and it is free. So for our meditation today, I'll talk to you more about Brigid and the background on Brigid in just a few minutes. But for our meditation, just briefly, Brigid is a Celtic goddess of creativity and inspiration. She deals with fire energy, like ironworks in terms of creativity. And she's about poetry and music and fertility and healing. And she calls us to throw out our hesitation and our insecurity and jump into the metaphysical fire, the fire that lights you and lifts you and brings forth our true nature. So we're going to do just a very short meditation. Think of the fire in your heart as you close your eyes, or if you choose not to close your eyes, just kind of stare out into the nothingness and just listen for this very short poem of words from Brigid. And then we'll follow it with just a moment of silence. I'll be beside you as you create fires from flint, as you struggle with wet kindling as you build great fires, as you build a roaring bonfire, as you walk on hot coals, and even as you walk through the fire. Hear my words, take them in your heart, and sit with a moment of silence. And then gently begin to open your eyes, slowly letting that light in just a little. And as you get your eyes open, look around. Look around at the beauty all around you. The people beside you, the walls of this beautiful sanctuary, the trees and nature outside. And say thank you. And in that space of thank you and gratitude, we will have the offertorium and another heart tune for us. This one is called Give Me Your Hand. And thank you for your beautiful gifts. So welcome to the ceremony of Imbolc. I have been doing Celtic ceremony for more years than I can remember. And before COVID, I frequently led these ceremonies on my property, which is up the mountain out that way. These days, I do it many times online, and I was very grateful for the opportunity to come today. It's not quite ceremony, but it's close to it. And so I want to tell you a little about Imbolc. It's the title of the talk today is Imbolc, the Awakening of Brigid's Light, because Brigid is very closely associated with this Imbolc, which is an ancient Celtic ceremony. It's actually pre-Celtic, before the Celts came into that whole area of Ireland and Scotland and England across the way. Imbolc is held at the midpoint between winter solstice and spring equinox. And it's called a cross-quarter holy day because there are 4 of those in the Celtic tradition that come between the equinoxes and the solstices. And today, in each of those, we honor nature, the earth, the sky, with different energy associated with each one according to the time of the year. Of course, the southern hemisphere, everything I'll talk about today applies to the northern because it's the reverse, 6 months reverse if you're in the southern hemisphere. But these sacred ceremonies, wherever they are in the world and whatever time of the 4 cross ones, bring us into alignment with the energetic cycle of the wheel of the year. And as we walk the land outside, we come in balance with that wheel of the year and connect with nature. At this time, connecting with Imbolc, we experience this potential of new growth, this potential of things sprouting underneath our feet. Now, I don't have any crocuses blooming at my house yet because I'm a little bit higher elevation, but Maggie sent me a picture just this week of crocuses blooming at her house. So they're coming, even if they're not in your yard yet, the crocuses are coming. And so that potential for new life is rising up as we celebrate Imbolc. And we celebrate the energy of the divine feminine at this time of the year as it grows and increases. And so it's time now to listen to our intuition as we settle into Imbolc. Listen to our feminine side, regardless of whether we're male or female in biological form. All of us have the divine feminine and the divine masculine within. And part of the divine feminine is that intuition. So Imbolc calls you to listen. Listen to your heart. Listen within. The time is never better than it is now in Imbolc. We celebrate it in early spring and invite the spring in. And with Imbolc, we honor many things, but 3 in particular. We honor the sun, we honor Brigid, and we honor the lighting of the sacred flame. We honor and call the sun to bring us light, to bring us longer days, more hours of daylight. We honor Brigid, the beloved Irish goddess and saint, as she calls us to make space for receiving her gifts. And we honor the light of the sacred flame. So here at UU, every week, we light a sacred flame. We come together and in this space to honor that flame, to honor what the flame represents. And as I said earlier this morning, our sacred flame is from this beautiful lamp with words of peace printed on it. And in this time of conflict and war, may we today add our energy to the many people who are celebrating Imbolc. Imbolc was the specific day was, the lunar day was February 1st, but Imbolc has, the solar day, but it has a lunar celebration as well. So we're in Imbolc for a week and a half, 2 weeks. So we are in that timeline where people are honoring and celebrating peace and the sun and Brigid. And so may we add our energy to this cross-quarter ceremony to help ourselves and all of humanity come into balance, come into harmony with nature, with the divine feminine and the divine masculine, and with Mother Earth. May we connect with that sacred flame. And in addition to lighting the sacred flame, Imbolc honors the sun and Brigid. In honoring the sun, we symbolically light fires and candles. At a ceremony site, you might have a bonfire. We have the candles, the white representing purity and the returning of light. We have white here, and over here we have a white candle. And we have a yellow and green candle representing nature, representing spring, representing the light coming forth, and a red candle. The red candle represents the life, the blood life within us. It represents fertility. It represents the opening of the new life coming forth. And red is the candle we burn for Brigid. And as you can, I'm wearing green for the spring and the earth, but several people today are wearing red, the dancers and Linda have the red with us because we're honoring the energy of Brigid and what she brings to us. So the fire and the candles are elements to remind us that it's time to cleanse and clear ourselves, our homes, our gardens, our lives. So in the East, that Celtic spirit wheel that I called this morning, the spirit wheel has a number of guidelines. And in the East, one of the guidelines is to hold the hearth. Meaning, once upon a time, the hearth, all the homes had a hearth where they built the fires and cooked and heated. Today, most of us don't rely on a hearth, but what we're referring to today is holding the hearth of our home, the hearth of our heart, the hearth of our energy that we put out into the world. And so holding the hearth includes the energy of your house, the very house that you live in, your home. And part of the direction is to make your home a welcoming place, because we never know who's knocking at our door. It might be an angel in disguise, or the Irish might say, might be a good fairy coming to give you blessings. If you turn them away, they may not be a good fairy any longer. But in alignment with holding the hearth and the energy of your home, one of the traditions for Imbolc is to wash your windows and specifically your front door. So this is to cleanse and lift the energy of your home. So there are specific directions on how to do this. And if you have, many of us today have a storm door or a glass door like this, and this is really helpful if it's a glass door, but you can do it with any type of door. And so there is a method. You specifically use a white cloth that you dip in water that has some lemon juice or lemon oil in it, and wipe the door, starting in the very center and moving outward in a clockwise direction, clockwise. And as you do that, you say a mantra, a rhyming mantra. You can make up your own, but one is, happiness and calm be welcome inside. May peace and love here always reside. And as you continue to wipe that door, you continue to repeat your mantra, welcoming in the peace, welcoming in the love into your home. So when those enter, they come into a vibration, an energy of welcoming beauty that you have brought to them. And so, in addition to cleansing your home, Imbolc is a time to plant the seeds of your goals and your intentions, as well as those. There's the phone going off, not mine. So your goals and your intentions, including, the seeds that you put in the ground to grow flowers and vegetables. But with those planting the seeds of your intentions, I have a method to offer you that is an ancient Celtic tradition. In your program, you may find a piece of cloth just a little strip of fabric, just a strip, not very much to it. It is cotton. Well, the Celtic tradition is to use this clootie, much like what we often call a prayer flag. And it's just a simple piece of fabric, but what you do is put your prayers, your intentions, your dreams, your wishes into it. And so when you're in a quiet space, hold that clootie and put your wishes into it. And then the next thing that you do is take it outside and tie that piece of fabric on a tree limb and let the wind take the clootie. Let the wind blow through the clootie, blow through the fabric, and blow your wishes and dreams out into the world. So right now, if you have the clootie, hold that in your hand and think of just one thing. You can add more later. And for just a second, think about one thing that you might like to put out into the world. A prayer, a wish, a dream. What are you looking at in 2024? What are you planting this spring that you might need to harvest in the fall? And so hold on to that clootie and take it with you when you leave today. And I think there may be some more in the portico as you leave, but tie those clooties onto a tree. Let that be a part of you considering what you're planning and dreaming and hoping for this spring, for the planting of your seeds. So it's an age-old tradition, very, very old, and you don't necessarily have to believe it. You just have to do the actions that go with it. The wind will take it, and you may never see the results, but not seeing the results of a prayer or an action doesn't mean that there aren't results that are out there someplace. So the foundation of Imbolc ceremonies and gatherings and feasts is honoring the divine feminine in the form of Brigid, the goddess Brigid, who brings us new energy from the long winter. She's the goddess of poetry, of healing, of midwifery, of smith crafting, meaning ironworks with fire, and creativity in general. There's an old saying that says if you can make it with your hands, Brigid is there to help you. She's a triple goddess, or part of the triple goddess heritage of that Celtic line. And so we honor her in the various aspects of who she is in that triple goddess. You say triple goddess, we have 4 cross-quarter days. How does that work? Well, half of the year is split between Brigid and the other half with the Cailleach. The Cailleach is the probably most ancient goddess that we have in all of the stories of history. In Ireland and Scotland, the Cailleach stories came from way before the Celts. It survived, Brigid and the Cailleach survived through all the marauders coming in to take over and change the culture and the history of the islands, and still the Cailleach and Brigid rose above it all. They stayed in the legends, they stayed in the stories. And so much of our story about Brigid is communing with that sacred fire because she represents the fire. She was there when the Tuatha De Danann, the stories of the gods and the goddesses of Ireland and Scotland, came about. She was there when the Celts came. Stories of her were there all the way into Christianity, and for thousands of years, priestesses of Brigid maintained a constant sacred fire a fire ritual in honor of Brigid always, to protect their herds, to protect the coming crops that may be come in, a fruitful crop, blessings, whatever things there were, they kept this fire burning in honor of Brigid. And of course, Christianity replaced the Druids that were carrying on the pagan practices, but they retained the gifts. Christianity retained the gifts of Brigid, and they transformed her into a beloved saint. It's the same Brigid of pre-Celtic storyline who became a Celtic saint. And her sacred flame was kept alive by the nuns for hundreds of years. And that flame was not extinguished until the Reformation of the 1500s, when the monasteries were burned and torn down, and monks were killed, and everything transformed in the 1500s. But the memory over this next 500 years or so was still there of the perpetual flame, of remembering Brigid, of remembering what that was about. And finally, in 1993, Brigid's her perpetual flame was relit. And it is today, and will continue, hopefully, into infinity, being maintained in a monastery in Ireland, in Kildare, where there's a long history of Brigid in Kildare. And they're called the Brigidine Sisters of Kildare, maintain the flame. Brigid today is no longer recognized by the Catholic Church as a saint, because she's a woman, and she was a priestess and a leader. So, but she's still honored in Ireland as a priestess, as a part of that perpetual flame. So she comes to us at Imbolc to ignite the fire that we have within ourselves. She comes and stirs the cauldron. She lights the fire under the cauldron. Are you hearing me? No. Okay. It sounds different over here. Must be.
You're hearing that mic from your
When I'm over there. Okay. So Brigid comes to stir the cauldron. She stirs the inspiration and the creativity. She is part of the triple goddess, the maiden, the mother, and the crone. And all through the winter, and through winter solstice, through the equinoxes in the wintertime, the crone, the Caliac, pulls us to go within, pulls us to sit in introspection in the dream time, pulls us to sit and listen to the voice within, waiting, and finding our dreams. And as we find our dreams, we slowly drop our dreams into the cauldron, slowly dropping them in. The slow movement of dreams into the cauldron tires the Caliac, tires the crone. She listens to the dreams coming forth, and her body grows weary. And so the dreams continue to simmer, and the crone is not quite ready to give it up. You know, much like the groundhog comes out, sees the shadow, runs back in, or doesn't. Well, the crone gets tireder and tireder as we increase our dreams, and the nature underneath our feet begins to grow. The roots begin to wiggle and wobble and stretch, and the womb of life is ready to give birth. Brigid, the maiden, is ready to emerge into the full potential of life. She comes in the spring as that maiden dancing across the land, dancing across the soil, awakening the seeds, the roots, and awakening that sacred fire within us. And as spring turns to summer, Brigid transforms into the mother who gives birth to the full potential of life. And so this morning, Brigid stirs the cauldron of creativity and inspiration with our dreams entered into the cauldron, with our dreams rising, with Brigid's fire getting hotter and hotter, causing the steam to rise from those prayers, those blessings, awakening us, calling us to arise to our full potential. And Brigid's fire, Brigid's sacred fire, offers us creativity that brings forth our music and our art and our poetry. Brigid's sacred fire brings forth the fire in the head for the storytellers, for the bards, for the mystics, the seers, the teachers. Her fire brings in the forge, brings forth that symbolization of transformation, taking iron and transforming it into statues, into jewelry, into artistic endeavors. The transformation of us within. And she brings forth the fire of healing with the hands, the fire of medicine and magical herbs, the fire of the sun merging forth from the winter slumber, and the fire in the center of the earth, waking us up to spring. So, gather your seeds and your dreams for the year. Remember to put them into your kludi and tie that kludi on a tree. May the fire of Brigid help germinate and awaken the seeds of your sacred dreams. And thank you for being a part of this gathering today. Blessed be. So we're going to sing our closing hymn, but we're going to do things a little bit differently from what we typically do. We will, you can stay seated to do this. We'll do the closing hymn, and then we'll have the closing music, harp music, which is beautiful. And then I'll go to the back at that point, and I will close the directions that we've opened. We've called in the ancestors to be with us, to work with us. The white buffalo woman has surrounded us. And so we'll release those directions before we all leave the sanctuary today. So, Linda?
This is hymn number 327, and you're going to recognize this tune by Beethoven with words from Schiller that he set to his most well-known symphony, I'm sure. So actually we're only going to sing the first two verses in English, but you who want to sing it in German can stay later. All right. I'll put a little break in between the verses.
Passion, souls, and
dancers. Thank you for everyone for coming today. White Buffalo Woman is standing in the north, ready to make her way from the north back around the circle to open the circle for us. And so we say thank you to White Buffalo Woman for protecting us and guiding us today. We say thank you to all of the ancestors of the north. Thank you for coming. We ask you to guide us as you can and go if you must. And I turn to the west, where the Morrigan and Sekhmet sit with the black bear. We thank you for coming. We thank you for your guidance and leading us into introspection. Help us to remember to go within and listen to our hearts. I turn to the south, to the dancers, to the goddesses, to the guides, to our ancestors, who call us to dance to the rhythm of life. And we ask you to guide us, to be with us if you can, to go if you must, but thank you for coming today. And we turn to the east. We thank the sun. We thank the ancestors from the east who've been with us this day, who've guided us along the illuminated path. And we turn back full circle to the center, saying thank you. Thank you, White Buffalo Woman. Thank you to the divine light. Thank you to the center. Thank you to Mother Earth. Thank you for being with us all today. Aho. Aho. Aho.